So I will say that I was pleasantly pleased with tonight's 65th annual Grammy Awards. I mean, tonight, it showcased what award shows could truly be if done correctly and given a bit of control. Now, did it have some of its own mishaps, maybe miscues and stuff, technologically and as well as even nominee-wise? Yeah, it did. I mean, Beyonce, who won one of the first awards of the night, wasn't even there to accept it. The people that worked with her on it were. Why? Because she was stuck in traffic. But she did arrive there to receive and break the record for the most Grammy Award wins ever. Yeah, she wasn't there when she tied it, but she was definitely there when she broke it. Now, the other thing that was a highlight was the memorial package that they did, where they had a variety of genres tied to, certain artists, major artists and collaborators and all that had passed in the past year. And they did a terrific job here. They really did. Also, they had, of course, their tributes. A tribute that followed after presenting the Golden Impact Award, the first one ever. Basically, it's like a Lifetime Achievement Legacy Award to Dr. Dre. And after that, they had a hip-hop tribute celebrating 50 years of hip-hop, which really surprised me. Because I thought hip-hop basically got its start in the early to mid-'80s. I had no idea that it had been going on since the early '70s. But, hey, you learn something new every day. But yeah, they did this massive tribute, which is considered already one of the best musical tributes of any of the music award shows that is out there. 50 years of hip-hop. I mean, they had everybody you can think of, from Salt and Pepper, LL Cool J, Busta Rhymes, you name it. They had them. Run DMC, they had them. Well, at least those that could be there or those that were still alive. They had them. And I got a kick out of it. They even had Missy Elliott, who I couldn't even recognize at first until I looked it up. They had her. I mean, again, they had a majority of those that they could get that had made an impact in hip-hop for the past 50 years and had been influenced by hip-hop in recent years. So that was kind of cool to see. It's very cool to see. Now, excuse me there. Now, the other surprise as well was the variety of award winners that basically won the Grammy. I mean, Harry Styles, of course, he won at least like two times, 3 times or something last night, or tonight, if you will. And, he won the big one, of course, at the end. Beyonce, like I said, she broke the record, historical moment. Lizzo won a Grammy. They basically won Grammys in all the major categories you would expect them to, including a big surprise, Bonnie Raitt. Bonnie Raitt, who you wouldn't think was going to win. I mean, you see these legends in the industry get nominated, but they never win because it's about the here and the now. She won. And that right there, to a lot of people, including my mom that was watching too, that is basically an example of finally learning from your mistakes. And those mistakes being that if you're going to do a reward show, whether you're the big one, the Super Bowl, if you will, of music award shows, that being the Grammys, or you're the Golden Globes of it, which is the American Music Awards, and so on, if you're going to be these kind of award shows, like the MTV Video Awards and Music Awards, if you're going to be all that, then you need to be diverse. You can't just be basically about the here and the now. You got to celebrate the here, you got to celebrate the future, the present, and the past. In other words, you got to celebrate those that will carry on the music legacies of the different categories involved in, musical categories involved in, for years to come. You got to celebrate the present, basically celebrate those that are, still here, that are, basically improving and getting better of what they've already mastered, as well as celebrate the past. Those that basically paved the way for today's generation of talent. I mean, Bonnie Raitt winning Song of the Year was a big surprise. Earlier in the night, Willie Nelson, who wasn't there, won, I think, for Best Country Song or something like that. So, yeah, this year's Grammys was really a diversive, change from the previous year or so. And again, I think it's all due to the controversy that it, along with its fellow music award shows, like the AMAs, easy for me to say, American Music Awards, the CMAs, the Country Music Awards, Billboard, you name it, MTV. Tonight or last night, they basically, learned, from those controversies, because in the past, the controversies that would follow is, allowing the artists, when they would do the performances, to get a little too vulgar in the performance, or, allow them to sing their songs uncensored, and unfiltered. And all that was pretty much, I guess you could say, improved on this year by making sure that, this year, by pretty much making sure that wouldn't happen again. That basically not to make the mistakes that they did before. And again, they gave a great variety here. They did give a great variety. They even had Madonna there to introduce Sam Smith and Kate, I think her name, I can't think of her last name right now, in their performance after they already won, a Grammy for Best Duo Performance, pop duo, duet, if you will, performance. They performed the song they won for and everything. They won the song that they won for. And Madonna was, like I said, she was the one that, introduced him. She was also introduced as someone that was in her fifth decade, if you will, performing, or actually fourth decade of performing, and she was going on another tour. But she's also been touted, and she even said it herself somewhat in her presentation, that, she has been known to be controversial. And that she looks at someone like Sam Smith and Kate as being in that same category. So I will admit they had a variety, and I mean a variety of content, across the board that made this probably the most pleasing, most enjoyable Grammys in quite some time. Because again, like I said, I think it's all due to the fact that they had basically got so much controversy, so much flack over what happened last year and in the previous years, not just with them, but with all the other award shows out there that follow suit in the same direction that they do. They got so much flack for allowing a lot of vocalness and a lot of the songs during the performances to be uncut and unfiltered. They got so much flack for those controversies that they realized that the only way they can avoid that is to make sure things were more structured. That's what they had to do. They had to make sure everything was more structured, which is why I'm pretty sure when a lot of these nominees were made or were announced, they got on the phone with them, probably not just the phone, but they probably met with them face to face to go over, what would happen if they won and everything, but also to make sure that when they do a performance, to kind of have an idea of like, okay, when can we cue the silence, like the mute, if you will, to make sure the swear word isn't there. I'm pretty sure they went over things. There were like lyrics, in songs that were performed during the performances that you heard, a little bit of a silence. You're like, what's going on? That's mainly because of the fact that they had to mute it. It was on broadcast television. Now, I'm pretty sure if you watch the Paramount Plus replay, you're going to get it uncut. There's no doubt. But they had to do it for broadcast television. Now, be that as it may, again, obviously they probably talked to a lot of the nominees, who were getting nominated, who were going to perform, to ensure none of this would happen. Now, did the show go off without, some technical issues or even issues with the nominees? Not really. Not really. Like I said, Willie Nelson, he wasn't there. Willie wasn't there due to reasons. So, basically, Shania Twain accepted it on his behalf and even was emotional in accepting it because obviously there's a reason he wasn't there. The other thing, too, like I said, I think I said this, Beyonce wasn't there when she tied for the record of most Grammy Award wins, when she won one of the first awards of the night, due to the fact that she was stuck in traffic. But as soon as she did get there, the host basically gave her award. Everybody gave her an ovation, and then almost immediately, a couple of awards later, she broke the record. Now, what's interesting about this is I also had to let my mom know about something. Because, you see, my mom's relaxing. And, when she gets relaxed, laying on her couch, because, she's tired, long week and everything, going back and forth between Newman and Livermore, working, she wanted to finally relax. She basically laid down on the couch a little bit to relax. So she fell asleep during this portion, so I had to wake her up to let her know. Basically, when Beyonce won, she thanked God. She thanked God for protecting her. She thanked him, for this moment and everything. Now, apparently, I guess I did miss the fact that she did, thank the LGBTQ, but be that as it may, the main thing was she thanked God. And the reason I brought this up to my mom is because my mom had heard things from one of her coworkers. And what she had heard from one of her coworkers, when it came to Beyonce, she had heard things about Beyonce being, a part of the Illuminati, worshiping, the enemy of God. Like I was saying, my mom was asleep, so like I said, she had heard things about, Beyonce worshiping the enemy of God and being part of Illuminati and stuff, and I'm like, when she's telling me she's heard this stuff, because one of the books that Little Golden Books puts out is this biography series for kids about famous people, who have already passed or are still with us, and one of them was on Beyonce. And I saw this, and I thought, okay, it's an interesting book. So I told my mom, and she's like, I'm not too sure about her. Then she told me what she had heard. And then when I mentioned to her that she thanked God, and thanked God for protecting her and all that, even though she's, thanked the LGBTQ, which, my mom's not too fond of because, prayer warrior and all that, and that's fine. That's perfectly understandable. Long story short, my mom was wondering, well, why did my coworker say all this? Why did she tell me this? And I had to tell her, Mom, your friend probably read the tabloids. She probably read the tabloids, believed what they said, because we all know here on YouTube and through social media and stuff, they can edit stuff together to make it sound like and look like, oh, this person's doing this and that, and it's not true. And they do it mainly for clicks. They do it mainly for attention, and that's it. That is it. And honestly, I think when it comes to certain people like a Beyonce or an Alicia Keys or whoever, I say don't. Just stop. Just stop. You want to speak how you truly feel about the person, then speak how you truly feel. If you don't like what they represent, then say it. If you don't like their singing, you don't understand their music, then don't pay attention. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, besides that, again, overall, the Grammys I thought were pretty good this year. I mean, yeah, there were moments, there's no doubt. I mean, my sister just called and said that there was one thing she didn't like, and that was the Sam Smith performance. The Sam Smith-Katie performance. And I was like, yeah, it's understandable because of, the way he dressed. But again, you got to remember who was presenting them, before that performance. Someone that's known for controversy herself, Madonna. But anyway, outside of that, loved it. Loved it all. I will say this. Me and my sisters did agree that, because my mom called my older sister during the hip-hop tribute, she said basically it makes you feel old just to see a lot of those, performers come out when they did. But long story short, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it and everything. But yeah, like I said, when the hip hop thing came out, my older sister said, "Oh, it makes me feel old," and I'm in agreement with her because we were all young, basically kids in our single digits, just coming into our double digits when those people came and made a name for themselves. But anyway, long story short, I really enjoyed it, and honestly, hopefully, the Grammys, the people behind hopefully the CEO behind the Grammys has learned his lesson. His team has learned the lesson. Hopefully the American Music Awards, I don't know if they've happened or not, will learn the lessons. And any other award shows that still come that's music related, learns the lessons and realizes, okay, if we're going to do this and we're going to do it live, because the one thing about a lot of these award shows is they do a live broadcast around 5, 6 o'clock, depending on where they are, mostly Los Angeles and New York, and then they do a repeat immediately afterwards for those that didn't catch it. And to me, I think hopefully realizing that, we're going to be live, I've initially not pre-recorded, so we got to we got to be more wary. So hopefully they've learned a lesson. And like I said, other music-related award shows in the future will realize, okay, we're going to be live. We got to make it clean, so that there's no controversy. But overall, enjoyed it this year. Vast improvement over the previous year or so, and hopefully they can keep up the momentum. But let me know what you guys' thoughts are on the Grammy Awards this year. How did you feel about it? Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know in the comments. This is in the live chat during the premiere. You will get an audio podcast version of this in my BW Rose's Discussions podcast, where you can find it all your favorite audio podcast locations, including, Spotify and Apple podcasts as well, iTunes, if you will, where you can listen, and Amazon Music, where you can listen to a lot of these Grammy Award winning and nominated musicians and artists. So until next time, guys, let me know what your thoughts are, and I'm out.